To understand the most miraculous journey in human history, you first have to understand the year of unbearable sorrow that came before it. Before the heavens were opened, every door on earth had been slammed shut. This was a time in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that historians call Am al-Huzn, the year of sorrow. It was a period of such concentrated grief and hardship that it would test any person to their absolute limit. In the 10th year of his mission, the Prophet found himself stripped of his most vital earthly supports. Just think about it. For 25 years, his wife Khadijah, may Allah be pleased with her, was more than just his spouse. She was his confidant, his advisor, the very first person to believe in his message, and a constant wellspring of love and reassurance. She was the one who comforted him when the weight of the first revelation left him shaken, the one who used her great wealth to support the small Muslim community during a brutal 3-year boycott. And in this year of sorrow, worn down by the strain of that boycott, she passed away. The Prophet didn't just lose his wife, he lost his greatest supporter, the anchor of his home, and the mother of his children. Her death left a void in his life that was simply immense. As if this blow wasn't devastating enough, another pillar of his life was taken just a short while later. His uncle Abu Talib, who had raised him like a son, passed away. Abu Talib wasn't a Muslim, yet his love for his nephew was so deep that he acted as a human shield between the Prophet and the seething rage of the powerful Quraysh tribe. As a respected elder, his protection was the only thing preventing tribal retribution from falling upon the Prophet with full force. With Abu Talib's death, that protection vanished overnight. The Prophet was now exposed and vulnerable in a way he had never been before. The grief was personal, but the consequences were dangerously public. The Makkans, who had been held back by their respect for Abu Talib, now saw their chance. Persecution escalated from taunts to physical assault. They threw filth on him as he prayed. One man even threw dirt on the Prophet's head as he walked home. He returned, head soiled, and when his young daughter wept as she cleaned it, he comforted her. "Don't cry, my little girl, for Allah will protect your father." But the pain of this rejection was real. The crushing loneliness he felt in the cave of Hira before his mission began seemed to have returned. Only this time, it was in the crowded streets of his own city. Every door in his hometown of Mecca was closing. So, in a desperate search for a new place where the message of God might find fertile ground, the Prophet traveled 70 kilometers on foot to the city of Taif. He went with hope, seeking the support of the Thaqif tribe. He met with their leaders and presented the message of Islam, the call to worship one God and uphold justice. Their response wasn't just rejection, it was brutal mockery. They didn't just refuse to listen, they stirred up the town's children and rabble to attack him. They formed 2 lines and forced the Prophet and his companion, Zayd ibn Haritha, to walk between them as they hurled stones. Blood flowed from his body, so much that it soaked his sandals. Wounded and exhausted, he was chased from the city and finally found refuge in an orchard. It was there, in that garden, at perhaps the lowest point of his mission, that he raised his hands and made one of the most moving prayers in history. He didn't complain to God, but rather, he complained about his own weakness to God. He spoke of his own frailty, his lack of resources, and his insignificance in the eyes of the people. But he ended with a powerful declaration of faith: "As long as you are not angry with me, I do not care. Your favor is all that counts for me." In that moment of complete human vulnerability, the divine response began. The angel Gabriel, appeared with the angel of the mountains, offering to crush the people of Taif between the mountains that flanked their city. But the Prophet, known as a mercy to all worlds, refused. He prayed for their descendants, hoping they might one day worship God alone. This was the context. A man drowning in sorrow, physically attacked, publicly humiliated, and rejected by his own people. Every earthly support had been cut off. His emotional support in Khadijah was gone. His tribal protection in Abu Talib was gone. His hope for a new start in Taif was shattered. When all the doors of the earth closed in his face, when every worldly hope was gone, when he turned to Allah with the purest sincerity born of absolute need, it was then that Allah declared, The doors of the earth may be closed, but the doors of the heavens are now open for you. This was the context. A man drowning in sorrow, physically attacked, publicly humiliated, and rejected by his own people. Every earthly support had been cut off. His emotional support in Khadijah was gone. His tribal protection in Abu Talib was gone. His hope for a new start in Taif was shattered. When all the doors of the earth closed in his face, when every worldly hope was gone, when he turned to Allah with the purest sincerity born of absolute need, it was then that Allah declared, "The doors of the earth may be closed, but the doors of the heavens are now open for you." This is the story of Al-Isra wal Mi'raj, the night journey and ascension. It's not just a story about a miracle. It's a story of divine comfort in response to unbearable pain. It's a lesson that when we feel most abandoned by the world, we are closest to the divine embrace. It is Allah's way of showing His beloved messenger, and all of us through him, that after every hardship there isn't just ease but elevation. The journey begins on a still night, sometime after the harrowing year of sorrow. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, is in Mecca, resting near the sacred Kaaba in a state between sleep and wakefulness. He's carrying the heavy weight of his personal losses and the public rejection of his mission. He has endured what seems unendurable, all for the sake of delivering God's message. It is in this quiet, vulnerable moment that the celestial intervention begins. Without warning, two figures descend, the archangels Gabriel, and Michael, two of God's most powerful emissaries. Their arrival is calm and purposeful, signaling the gravity of what is about to unfold. They approach the Prophet, and what happens next is a crucial preparation for the journey ahead, a profound act of purification that scholars call a spiritual surgery of the heart. This event, known as Shaq al-Sadr, or the opening of the chest, is a literal act of cleansing described in the traditions. Jibril gently lays the Prophet down, opens his chest, and removes his heart. He washes it in a golden tray filled with the sanctified water of Zamzam. The narrations describe Jibril removing a dark clot from the heart, saying, "This was the portion of Satan within you." This portion, representing base human inclinations, is cast away. Whether understood as a physical act or a deep spiritual metaphor, its purpose is clear. The heart, in Islamic tradition, is the seat of consciousness and faith. To purify it is to prepare it for an experience that transcends all physical laws. The journey he is about to take will bring him into the direct presence of the divine, an encounter that requires a vessel of absolute purity. After being washed, the Prophet's heart is filled from a golden tray containing Iman, faith, and Hikmah, wisdom. Jibril pours these spiritual gifts into the Prophet's chest before sealing it. His heart is now not just purified but fortified, overflowing with the unshakable faith and profound wisdom needed to witness the immense signs of God that await him. This spiritual fortification is essential. He is about to see things no eye has seen and experience realities that would overwhelm any ordinary human spirit. This preparatory act is a powerful lesson in itself. Before any great spiritual ascent, there must be purification and strengthening. To draw closer to God, the heart must be emptied of all that is not from Him, then filled with faith and wisdom. The Prophet's life of patience and prayer was a preparation, and this divine act was the final step to ready him for the ultimate honor. With his heart purified and filled with light, the Prophet is ready. The stage is set. The human vessel has been prepared for a divine journey. The earthly part of the night, with its sorrow, is about to give way to a celestial experience that will forever change the spiritual landscape of humanity. With his heart prepared, Jibril presents the Prophet with his celestial mount, Al-Buraq. The name itself, from the Arabic word barq, means lightning, a clue to its incredible speed. The Prophet's own descriptions paint a picture of a white animal, somewhere between the size of a donkey and a mule, already bridled and saddled. But its most astonishing feature was its stride. The Prophet said its step reached the farthest point of its sight. Imagine that. With every single step, the Buraq could place its hoof on the horizon. This description immediately signals that the laws of our world are being suspended for a higher purpose. While later artistic traditions sometimes depict the Buraq with a human face and wings, the earliest accounts focus on its otherworldly speed and form, emphasizing its nature as a creature of light. When the Prophet Muhammad went to mount the Buraq, the creature hesitated. Jibril placed his hand on its mane and said, "Are you not ashamed, O Buraq? By Allah, no one more honorable in Allah's sight has ever ridden you." Humbled, the Buraq stood still, allowing the Prophet to mount it. This moment highlights the Prophet's supreme rank in the eyes of God, recognized by all of creation. This first leg of the journey is Al-Isra, the night journey. It's the earthly part of the trip, from the sacred mosque, Al-Masjid al-Haram, in Mecca, to the farthest mosque, Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, in Jerusalem. Allah immortalizes this journey in the Quran. "Glory be to the one who took his servant by night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque whose surroundings we have blessed, so that we may show him some of our signs." This journey, which would normally take months by caravan, was completed in a fraction of a night. As the Buraq crossed the Arabian desert, Jibril occasionally instructed the Prophet to dismount and pray. These stops were not random. They were at sites of profound spiritual history. He prayed at Yathrib, the city that would become Medina. He prayed at Mount Sinai where God spoke to Moses. He prayed at Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. Each prayer was a spiritual link, connecting the final message of Islam with the long chain of divine revelation that came before it. This wasn't just a trip from point A to point B. It was a journey through sacred history. It was a powerful statement that Prophet Muhammad's mission was not a new religion, but the culmination of the same truth revealed to all prophets before him. By praying at these sites, he honored their legacy and affirmed the one, unified source of their message. The destination, Jerusalem, is itself deeply significant. The Quran mentions that Allah has blessed its surroundings. For centuries, Jerusalem was an epicenter of prophethood, the city of David, Solomon, and Jesus. By traveling from the Kaaba in Mecca, built by Abraham and Ishmael, to Jerusalem, the city of so many prophets from the line of Abraham's other son, Isaac, the journey spiritually united the two great branches of the Abrahamic family. It symbolized the passing of the torch of divine leadership to the final community, the Ummah of Prophet Muhammad. The arrival in Jerusalem marks the end of the Isra and the beginning of an even more momentous gathering, setting the stage for the ascension, Al-Miraj. Upon arriving at the sacred site of Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque, the Prophet dismounted. He then tied his celestial mount, the Buraq, to a ring in the wall, the same ring Jibril told him that the prophets before him used. This simple act is deeply symbolic. It teaches a crucial lesson in tawakkul, to trust completely in Allah, but also to take the necessary practical steps. What happened next was a gathering unlike any other. As the Prophet entered the holy sanctuary, he found that Allah had miraculously gathered every single prophet and messenger who had ever lived, from Adam to Jesus, peace be upon them all. Imagine the scene. The spirits of the greatest human beings to ever walk the earth, Abraham, Moses, David, and countless others, were assembled in rows, waiting. This was a divinely ordained celestial summit. This gathering served a monumental purpose. It was a formal ceremony to pass the mantle of universal prophetic leadership to its final bearer. For thousands of years, divine guidance for humanity had been centered in and around Jerusalem. Now, that era was ending, and the age of the final, universal message had begun. In this August assembly, the time for prayer arrived. A question hung in the air. Who would lead this congregation of prophets? In a moment of profound cosmic significance, Jibril, by divine command, took the Prophet Muhammad by the hand and guided him forward. He was to be the Imam, the leader of the prayer for all the prophets. Think about this moment. Think. The final messenger, Muhammad, stood before his elder brothers, Adam, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. By leading them in prayer, he was not only honored above them all, but the unity of their message was declared for all time. It affirmed that they all prayed to the same God and brought the same core message of monotheism. His leadership in this prayer confirmed his status as the master of the messengers and the leader of the prophets. It was a spiritual inauguration, confirming that his message completed and fulfilled all that came before. After the prayer, another significant event occurred. Jibril presented the prophet with 2 vessels, one with wine, the other with milk, asking him to choose. The prophet chose the milk. Jibril confirmed his choice, saying, "You have chosen the fitra, the pure natural inclination." Milk symbolizes purity and nourishment, aligning perfectly with Islam's nature as the pristine path for humanity. Wine, representing intoxication, symbolizes a deviation from that natural state. This choice was another divine affirmation of his mission's nature. The gathering at Al-Aqsa was the bridge between the earthly journey and the heavenly one. It was the formal handover of spiritual authority. Having been honored on earth, he was now to be honored in the heavens. From this very sanctuary, the next stage would begin, the Miraj, the ascension through the 7 heavens. From the sacred ground of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the second, even more awe-inspiring part of the journey begins. Al-Miraj, which literally means the ladder, or instrument of ascent. A celestial staircase, a ladder of light, descends from the heavens, providing the path for his climb. This is the journey from the physical world into the unseen spiritual cosmos. They begin their ascent, arriving at the gate of the first heaven. Jibril requests entry. A guardian angel asks, "Who is it?" Jibril replies, "It is Jibril." The angel asks, "And who is with you?" He says, "Muhammad." The crucial question follows, "Has he been sent for?" Jibril confirms, "Yes." Upon this confirmation, the gates swing open with a welcome. Welcome to him. What an excellent visitor he is. This protocol is repeated at the gate of all 7 heavens, emphasizing that this journey is by exclusive divine decree. The first heaven. They enter and see a majestic figure. "This is your father, Adam. Greet him," Jibril says. The prophet does, and Adam, the father of humanity, warmly returns the greeting. "Welcome, O pious son and pious prophet." To his right, Adam smiles. To his left, he weeps. Jibril explains that on his right are the souls of his descendants destined for paradise, and on his left are the souls of those destined for the fire. A panoramic view of human destiny, the second heaven. Ascending further, they meet 2 noble prophets. Jibril says, "These are the cousins, Yahya, John the Baptist, and Isa, Jesus. Greet them." They greet him as a pious brother and pious prophet. This meeting further solidifies the continuity of the divine message. The third heaven. In the third heaven, they behold a man of breathtaking beauty. "This is your brother Yusuf, Joseph," Jibril explains. "He was given half of all beauty." Joseph welcomes him with the same honor. Joseph's story in the Quran is one of immense trial and ultimate triumph, a testament to the reward of patience. The fourth heaven. Here they meet the prophet Idris, Enoch. The Quran says that Allah raised him to a high station. His presence in this elevated heaven is a direct manifestation of that honor. In the fifth heaven they meet Harun, Aaron, the brother of Moses, a man with a great white beard beloved by his people. Aaron welcomes him as a pious brother and pious prophet, a symbol of loyalty and support in God's cause. The sixth heaven. This encounter is emotionally charged. They meet the prophet Musa, Moses. As the prophet Muhammad passes him, Moses begins to weep. When asked why, Moses says, "I weep because a young man was sent after me, and more of his nation will enter paradise than from my nation." This isn't a cry of jealousy, but one of profound love and concern for his own people. Having led a difficult nation, Moses sees in the success of the final community what he had wished for his own. This encounter is heavy with history and meaning. The seventh heaven. Finally, they reach the highest heaven and see a noble elderly man leaning against a magnificent structure. He is the image of the prophet himself. "This is your father, Abraham," Jibril says. Abraham returns the greeting. "Welcome, O pious son and pious prophet." He is leaning against Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur, the frequented house, the celestial equivalent of the Kaaba. Jibril explains that every day, 70,000 different angels enter it to worship, never to return again, a testament to the ceaseless worship of God in the heavens. Before the prophet ascends further, Abraham gives a precious gift for his ummah. He says, "O Muhammad, convey my greetings of peace to your nation, and tell them that paradise has pure soil and sweet water, and its seedlings are the words, Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Glory be to God, all praise is due to God, there is no God but God, and God is the greatest." It's a direct message from the father of prophets to the final nation on how to cultivate our gardens in paradise. This journey through the heavens was a living tour of prophetic history. Having been honored by the entire lineage of messengers, the prophet is now prepared for the final stage of his ascent, a stage so high that even the archangel Jibril cannot go further. After meeting his ancestor Abraham in the seventh heaven, the prophet Muhammad was guided to an even higher reality, a point known as Sidrat al-Muntaha, the Lote tree of the utmost boundary. This is a place of profound mystery, the final frontier beyond which no creation, not even the highest angels, can pass. The Quran alludes to this. At the Lote tree of the utmost boundary, near which is the garden of abode, when there covered the Lote tree that which covered it. The prophet described this celestial tree as being covered in colors and lights of such indescribable beauty that no human language could do it justice. As divine majesty enveloped it, the tree transformed into something stunning beyond all description. It is at this boundary that the knowledge of all creation ends. It was here that Jibril, his companion for the entire journey, stopped. He had reached his limit. The Prophet Muhammad, however, was granted the unique honor to proceed alone, brought into the divine presence in a way no other created being ever has been or ever will be. What happens next is the climax of the journey, a moment shrouded in a sacred veil, a direct audience with Allah, the Lord of majesty and honor. The details are beyond our full comprehension, a direct bestowal of honor and revelation upon His most beloved servant. It is in this sacred encounter that Allah legislates the central pillar of worship for the Muslim community, the Salah, or ritual prayer. Initially, the command was for 50 daily prayers. Imagine the significance. 50 times a day, believers would be called to connect directly with their Creator, a testament to the immense importance of prayer. Having received this command, the prophet began his descent. He once again passed by the prophet Moses in the sixth heaven. Moses, with his vast experience, asked what had been commanded. The prophet replied, 50 prayers. Moses' response was immediate and wise. Return to your Lord and ask for a reduction, for your community will not be able to bear this. I have tested the children of Israel and know their nature. Heeding this sincere advice, the Prophet Muhammad ascended again and requested a lightening of the command. Allah, in His infinite mercy, reduced the number. This back and forth, guided by the wisdom of Moses and the mercy of Allah, continued until the number was finally reduced to 5. Even at 5, Moses advised him to go back one last time. But the Prophet Muhammad replied, I have returned to my Lord so many times that I am now shy. I am content and I submit. At this point, a divine voice called out, sealing the command with an incredible gift. My word does not change. These are 5 prayers, but they will carry the reward of 50. This is a manifestation of Allah's boundless generosity. The community is obligated to perform only 5 prayers, yet the spiritual reward remains that of the original 50. This entire episode is a profound lesson. It shows Allah's desire not to overburden His servants and highlights the honor of both Prophet Muhammad, whose requests are granted, and Prophet Musa, whose concern was a mercy from God. The prayer Salah was the ultimate gift of the Miraj. While all other commands were revealed on earth, the prayer was given directly in the heavens, in the divine presence. This is why prayer is called the mirage of the believer. 5 times a day, every Muslim is given the chance to experience their own personal ascension, to leave the world behind and stand in an intimate conversation with their Lord, just as the Prophet did on that miraculous night. The journey that had stretched across the cosmos from Mecca to Jerusalem and to the divine presence concluded with the same miraculous speed it began. Before the first light of dawn, the Prophet Muhammad was returned to Mecca, to the very spot where he had departed. The entire celestial odyssey had taken place in just a part of one night. As morning came, the Prophet was quiet, contemplating what he had just experienced. He knew that sharing this story with the people of Mecca, who were already hostile to his message, would be an extraordinary test. It was an event that could only be accepted through pure faith in the power of God and the truthfulness of his messenger. As he was sitting, his staunchest enemy, Abu Jahl, walked by. Seeing the Prophet in a contemplative state, Abu Jahl approached him mockingly. "Anything new?" The Prophet, deciding to speak the truth, replied, "Yes. Last night I was taken on a journey." Abu Jahl, sensing an opportunity, eagerly asked, "To where?" The Prophet answered, "To Jerusalem." Abu Jahl, barely containing his delight, pressed on, "And you're back here with us this morning?" The Prophet confirmed, "Yes." Abu Jahl saw his chance. He rushed through the streets, calling everyone to assemble, announcing that Muhammad had something incredible to say. When the people gathered, he turned to the Prophet and said, "Now, tell them your story." The Prophet recounted the events of Al-Isra. As he spoke, the crowd erupted. Some laughed, some clapped sarcastically, others put their hands on their heads in disbelief. A journey that took their caravans months, he claimed to have completed in a single night. The skeptics decided to test him. Men who had traveled to Jerusalem began to cross-examine him. "If you're telling the truth, then describe Jerusalem to us." This was a clever trap. The Prophet had been there at night, his focus on spiritual matters, not architecture. For a moment he felt a deep distress. But then, another miracle occurred. Allah brought the entire city of Jerusalem into his vision. He began to describe it, detail by detail, gate by gate. The travelers in the crowd were stunned into silence. They had to admit, by God, his description is accurate. He even told them about one of their caravans, where it was and what had happened to one of its camels, details that were confirmed days later when the caravan arrived. Despite this proof, their arrogant hearts refused to believe. But the news also served as a litmus test of faith for the believers. Some, whose faith was weak, wavered and even left Islam, unable to accept it. Seeing this, some disbelievers rushed to the house of the Prophet's closest companion, Abu Bakr. Surely they thought this story would be too much even for him. They said, "Have you heard what your friend is claiming? He says he went to Jerusalem and back in one night." Abu Bakr's response would become legendary. He didn't ask for proof. He simply asked one question. Did he actually say that? They confirmed, yes. Without a moment of hesitation, Abu Bakr made his historic declaration. If he said it, then it is the truth. Shocked, they asked, "You actually believe him?" Abu Bakr's reply silenced them. "I believe him in matters far greater than that. I believe him in the news that comes to him from the heavens every morning and evening." For this unwavering belief, the Prophet Muhammad gave him the title by which he would be known for all time. As Siddiq, the most truthful, the one who affirms the truth. Abu Bakr's reaction demonstrated the essence of faith. Belief in the unseen, based on the truthfulness of the messenger. The night journey was not just a miracle for the Prophet. It was a profound trial that separated true faith from doubt. The story of Al-Isra wal Mi'raj isn't a tale to be heard once and then forgotten. It's a living narrative, pulsing with lessons that are as relevant today as they were 14 centuries ago. It's a journey from the depths of human sorrow to the pinnacle of divine honor, a story of hope, faith, and the unbreakable bond between a servant and his Lord. Let's reflect on the wisdom woven into this event. The journey began in the year of sorrow, when every form of earthly support was removed from the prophet. This teaches us a powerful lesson. Often it's at our moments of deepest despair when we feel most alone that we are being prepared for our greatest spiritual ascent. When the doors of this world close, it may be a sign that the doors of heaven are opening. It's a manifestation of Allah's timeless promise. For indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. The journey also serves as the ultimate testament to the exalted station of Prophet Muhammad. He was chosen to lead all the prophets in prayer, establishing him as the seal of the prophetic lineage. He was the only creation taken beyond the Sidrat al-Muntaha into the divine presence. This honor was not just for him, but for his entire community, elevating the status of the one we follow and love. And what was the gift from this incredible journey? The gift of Salah, the 5 daily prayers. Prayer wasn't revealed on earth. It was gifted directly in the heavens, highlighting its unique importance. Prayer is our personal mirage. It's our daily appointment with Allah, our chance to rise above the noise of the world and find peace by speaking directly to our Creator. The story reminds us of the unity of God's message. By meeting all the prophets from Adam to Jesus, the journey affirms that Islam is the final, complete form of the one truth revealed to humanity since the beginning of time. It's a call to respect all of God's messengers and see the beautiful, unbroken chain of divine guidance. Finally, the reaction of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq teaches us the meaning of true faith. In a world demanding empirical proof for everything, the night journey asks us to believe in the unseen based on the integrity of the source. It's a call to trust in the power of Allah, which isn't bound by the laws of physics He created. This miraculous night was a turning point. It was a divine consolation and a powerful infusion of strength that would prepare the Prophet and his followers for the next great chapter, the migration to Medina and the establishment of the first Muslim society. The night journey is a vast ocean of meanings. Every time we revisit it, we discover new pearls of wisdom. It's a source of hope for the grieving, strength for the struggling, and inspiration for the seeker. It reminds us that no matter how dark the night, the promise of a divine dawn is always true. If these reflections have touched your heart, consider sharing this story so others can also draw strength from this miraculous event. And most importantly, the next time you stand for prayer, remember that you are embarking on your own mirage, your own personal ascension to the Lord of the heavens and the earth. May Allah bless us with a portion of the certainty that filled the Prophet's heart on that night, and may He make our prayers a true ascension for our souls. Ameen.